Okay, guys. I'm assuming you could hear me. I'm not sure. The lighting's really, really bad in here. Let's see, that's my good side. I think that's my good side, yeah. So, what we need is more lighting. That help? Okay. So, we got cut off, and I apologize for that. I hope you could hear me. I don't even know if anyone's on. If you had tuned in to the previous video, we were sharing some, I think, really important heavy-duty stuff. And it started to buffer. And then I tried another video and I had no sound. So now I'm trying this. And I want to just say what I was saying and then come up with a thought here. Macron clearly said what his intention is on September 22nd. It's the time of the Feast of Trumpets, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, right? And it's clearly a two-state solution. He's going to push this full tilt. And he is going to pressure Israel and get the international community on his side for peace and security. He used the words peace and security at the end. And then you also have the UAE, who's basically saying to Israel, if you're thinking about annexing land in order to try to block a Palestinian state, the Abraham Accords, which they were the first country, will go bye-bye. Which is huge because Netanyahu will not only lose UAE and the other countries that have agreed to the Abraham Accords, but all the Arab nations, including Saudi Arabia, which would be a very coveted, desirable country for Israel to have Abraham Accords with. Do you see what's on the line here? Netanyahu does not want to have a Palestinian state, but they're pushing him into a corner. And you basically got the whole world, minus the United States, which they might cave into, for Israel to agree to this Palestinian state. We started the last program with two passages in Scripture that, to me, seem as clear as day, is when they say peace and security, and they are saying it, folks, more than ever, and dividing up God's land, which is warned about in Joel chapter 3. Those two passages are coming to pass and will ultimately result in, at the culmination of the time of Jacob's trouble, it's all going to be fulfilled, just like God said it would. So what is happening this Feast of Trumpets at the UN is uber significant. And just like Ross said on New News, the Antichrist could very well be at this 80th gathering of the UN and revealed, which is a mind-blowing thing. And we could be out of here because if there is a strengthening of the covenant, then that will start the clock ticking on Daniel's 70th week. Now, this is a hypothesis I have. Between now and the 80th gathering anniversary of the UN in the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, so on, My hypothesis between now and then will be intense battle, war in Gaza and even perhaps Iran, which will create even more pressure from the international community to get something done. They're already crying that there is famine, a humanitarian crisis that can't go on any further. Israel wants to take over and control Gaza. And guess what? The whole thing with Iran is far from settled. So we could see in the days and weeks to come, because there's less than 3 weeks before we get to the UN and the Feast of Trumpets, and perhaps a two-state solution. We are arguably at one of the most significant times in biblical, soon-to-be biblical history. Quite possibly. Can't say for sure. I am not saying thus saith the Lord. And when I say hypothesis, it's an educated guess. I would not be surprised in the days and weeks to come that there will be immense fighting, bloodshed, perhaps war. It is war. In Gaza and perhaps beyond. And you will hear peace and security, peace and safety at a very intense volume. And quite possibly Israel will be forced to agree. And what will be the carrot dangled in front of them? You could rebuild your third temple. All the pieces are set up. Everything's converging. Everything looks so sweet and lined up. The bride might be going home, folks. So I wanted to bring this update because we have to look at how things are coming together. And you could see the pressure mounting. I think it's just going to get more and more and worse and worse. There's going to be more on the bandwagon. And the Antichrist, whoever he might be, will be handed a silver tray and the keys to the world and this covenant with death. And he'll be ready to take over and instill his beast system, his new world order, and hell on earth will commence. Let's keep watching, keep praying, stay encouraged. I need to go right now. Thank you for joining me inside the bunker.